Hello, and welcome to Community Spotlight, where we feature candidates and local organizations that help serve our town. I'm one of your hosts, Diane McCarthy, and tonight I have with me Judy Johnson, who is a candidate for the Library Board of Trustees. Welcome, Judy.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. So why don't we go ahead and start off, just share a little bit about yourself. How long have you been here in town and what brought you here?
Well, I've been in town for 35 years, and what brought me here is my husband, who was driving by this barn one day in Goffstown. We were living in Dumbarton at the time, and he came home and he said, "Judy, I found this barn." And I'm thinking, okay. So he said, "No, I think it'll make a really nice house." He said, "Do you want to come see it?" And I said, "All right." And still, I don't have that spatial vision gift. So we're walking through the barn, and it still had the horse stalls and the cow stalls, and it smelled of hay. And I was just walking around like, I don't know, this doesn't seem like a place I want to live. But then he opened up the barn doors in the backyard, and there was this beautiful field. And I said, "All right, if you can do something with the barn, I know I can make this backyard a great place for the kids." So he spent 7 months renovating the barn into our house through lots of discussions. And we're still there after 35 years later.
I love that story, and I'm glad you're here.
Thanks.
Definitely. So talk to me about the Library Board of Trustees. Why are you running for that position?
It's really easy, and it's very simple. I just love libraries. And I remember going to the Manchester Library, which is where I grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire. And I remember how beautiful the building was, and I walking up the marble staircase and going on the microfiche and doing research. I've always loved that library. When I was in college, I was the first one in the library every day. I just found it a peaceful place to study and read. And when we came to Goffstown, I continued that by bringing my children. And so I just love the library, and I knew it was a place that I could fit. I knew it was a place that I could help. And so that's why I'm running. It's very simple. I just love the library.
Fantastic. It's a good reason. So what sort of experience and skills would you bring to your position as a Library Board of Trustees member?
Well, in my various jobs through my life, I wore many hats. I worked for many years in corporate training and development in New York, where I created training manuals and did teaching. But then I met my husband and decided that I was going to stay home. We moved back to New Hampshire from New York, and I became a real estate broker. And my husband was the builder, so I bought the land and he built the houses, and then I sold the land. So I'm very good at doing research. And then the market crashed, and we had a long talk. I said, one of us needs a real job here. And I loved working in corporate training and development, but I also wanted to be part of my kids' lives. And I knew I couldn't do both. So I said, why don't I check out teaching? So I did, and went to graduate school and became a business marketing teacher. And most of my career was spent in Manchester, where I became the department head for 3 different departments. I had to prepare budgets. I had to do training for the new teachers. I had to hire new teachers. So that was had a lot of skills in that set as a department head. I worked on various committees throughout the year, working collaboratively with other teachers. And I also worked on a national board, the National DECA board, which is the Association of High School Marketing Students. I did that for a few years, and that was pretty interesting. Later, the skills that I bring in now is I run a successful wedding business, and I have been doing it for 10 years. So I understand the budgeting process. I understand what it takes to advertise your company, staying within your budget. I understand that, the ultimate is the people that you work with and the people that you service. That's a very big gift I know that I have, is I love working with people. So those are the skills that I think that I can bring to the library.
It sounds like you did a lot of policy work too.
I did.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you see as some of the biggest challenges facing the library board right now?
It's facing obstacles that are unsure how we're going to fix. I know that there's a lot of misinformation going around a lot about the library, which, I don't understand how that happened, but the biggest concern I have is the space. I don't know if the last time people have been to the library, but it's very crowded. But in that realm of it even being so crowded, last year, 43,942 people walked through the door of that library. I think that's amazing. That's like 2.5 times that somebody has gone to the library. What I do love, and I talked about the museum passes, and it's affordable for families to go to the Boston Museum of Science, because I don't remember how much the tickets are, but I know they're like $30, $40 now.
They're expensive.
Yeah, so here you can get library passes. Almost 1,000 library museum passes were given out last year. This is what I think is amazing. People checked out 112,059 books last year. That's a lot of reading.
It is a lot of reading.
The library's done. It's such an important aspect of our community. So I want to make sure that people get the right information and that the library can stay a great institution that I know that it is.
Yeah, perfect. So what kind of ideas do you have to address those challenges?
Well, it's a struggle. And I know I taught marketing for 20 years. And one of the biggest struggles is the market for people to go to the library is very diverse. You have an extreme demographic in there. And how do you reach those people? Because everybody's different. Yeah. Not everybody goes on social media, and I'm one. It stresses me out. I don't like the vitriol that I see on social media, so I try to stay away from it. I love Instagram, but how many people would go to Instagram for information? We don't have a newspaper. We have the Union Leader, but they're not going to focus on Goffstown news. I think the website's a good resource, but that's the struggle for me, is how do you get that message out to people, because it's so diverse. So we have to kind of hit all these different ones, and that's the challenge.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So libraries have been a hot topic lately. I've had a lot of national and local conversations around book banning, et cetera. Even their relevance to the community and their value to the community. What do you see as the Library Board of Trustees' role in mediating those local conversations?
This is what I think is extremely important, because I don't know if people understand that they can come to the library trustee meetings and they can present their concerns in the public forum. I've been working with the library trustees for several months now, and nobody's ever come. So I think that that's what's missing in our community, is the one-on-one. And I wish that people, if they have concerns, don't put it on social media and make it into a big brawl that, people hide behind their words. Just come and talk, because, there's always a solution. There's always a way that, we can have a meeting of the minds. And I would encourage people to continue. I would encourage people to do that more often. So that would be how I would want to solve those issues. The avenue is it's a tough avenue to be on. How do you manage that? So this is what I always used to teach my marketing students. And whenever you're doing marketing, or you're trying to change, or you're trying to reach people, right? 70% of the people will love to hear what you have to say, and you might be able to persuade them, and they might buy into what you want to do. Then you have the other 30%. So about probably I would say 15%, you're never going to change their minds, no matter what you say, no matter what you do. And then you have another 15% that really don't care. So really, I think our focus should be on those 70% of the people, those people that come into the library and value the library. So I just would love to keep verbal one-on-one conversations going and not be blasting over social media.
I think face-to-face is so important.
It is.
And we've lost that.
Yes, it is.
Definitely. Yeah. So why should people choose you to be on the Library Board of Trustees?
Well, I will tell you, when I decide to commit to something, I jump in 100%. And that's what I will do as a library trustee. I do the research. So if somebody says something that, oh, I don't know about that, well, I'm going to do the research and find out, because I think that's important. And I think that that's what people have forgotten to do. They forgot to do research. They just kind of go, oh, they said this, they said this. Well, it might not be true, you know. So I'm a very good researcher. And I will make sure that my efforts will go into making sure the library is preserved for those people who want to continue using it, which it sounds like is a big portion of our community.
That's great. So is there anything else that you would like people to know about you?
Well, I want to tell you, I'm a big storyteller. So I want to tell you this one story, because another trait that I have is motivating people. And I'm going to tell you a little story about teaching, because I taught high school marketing to juniors and seniors. And in my Marketing 2 class, students all had to do these big projects, and they would take them a half a year to do. And then they would present their findings at the state DECA conference by other people. So I love that component, because it wasn't just me grading it. It was other people grading their work. And my students had created this, a few years prior, my students had created this group called Helping Hands. And the focus of this group was to make money and put it in a fund so that when students at Memorial High School in Manchester needed glasses, or they needed sneakers, or, you know, they needed food, the money was there for them. So it was students helping students.
I love this.
And then, you know, we had no part on knowing any of the kids who used the money. It was all done through the guidance department and the assistant principal.
Perfect.
So it was like 3 or 4 years in, and the amount of money kept increasing every year that the students were making. So the previous year, the students made $3,500. So the two young ladies that decided to take this project on wanted to, you know, they said, well, let's do 4,000. I said, why not 5? And they said, oh, Ms. J, we can't do 5. And I said, I think you can. So they, we worked, we did a lot of brainstorming. They came up with great ideas, and at the end, they earned over $5,000.
No kidding.
And I just remember this one young lady who majored in marketing. She's in my class. I can still see her sitting in her seat, and she's crying. And I said, what? Why are you crying? You did it. This is amazing. She said, Ms. J, I never thought we could do it. I never thought we could do it. So I think it's really important that you empower people, and that, you cheer them on, because that's part of what we all do as people in our community. Instead of tearing each other down, let's motivate us to be the best Goffstown ever.
That is fantastic.
Because we always have been. You know, Goffstown's always been a great place to live, and it's been progressive, and it's been inviting, and I'd like to see that continue. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
And that does it for us this evening. So thank you so much for joining us. For more information on Judy, you can find her answers in the Library Candidate Guide, and you can also see her on the Lions Club Candidate Information Night. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.